research. However, the case that I'm doing today is a very long and intricate one, so I hope that you guys can forgive me, but I'm literally going to be reading the story of this true crime video as a story. I will link where I am getting the information from below, if you want to either read along or just read it for yourself at a later date, if you're just here for the whispers and the relaxation. But I'm reading from an article written by a man named Mark Oliver. Gotta give the credit where the credit's due. If you are on Netflix, you may have seen or heard of a documentary called Don't F with Cats. And the person that documentary talks about is who we are going to be talking about today, a man by the name of Luka Magnotta. I talked about it a little bit in my Netflix video that went up a couple of days ago, but it's a great documentary if you're into true crime, which I'm assuming you are since you're here. I would 100% recommend watching that documentary as well. But I'm literally just going to read this to you, so I hope that you guys enjoy. As I say always in my true crime videos, these are not intended for anyone under the age of 14. This deals with a lot of sensitive subjects and a lot of disturbing. This is very disturbing, as is the documentary. Just be advised for that too if you go watch that. It's very disturbing, so just proceed with caution. Okay, so let's just get started, shall we? So, Luka Magnotta filmed himself murdering Lynn Jun, then shared the video online. It just gave me this weird energy, he later said. Something just happened in my brain. That is the introduction to what we are reading. So, let's begin. There was a horrid stench coming out of the suitcase. It had been there for days now. The janitor had noticed it every time he swept out in the alleyway behind the apartment building. Up until then, he had been able to ignore it, but the smell from inside was getting worse and worse. A choking, sickly stench, like a pig roast left out to rot. But nothing could have prepared him for what he found inside. A man's severed torso, the limbs torn off. The other parts of the man would eventually turn up throughout the late spring of 2012, but they would be found nowhere near that apartment in Montreal. His left foot would show up in a package wrapped by the Canada Post, delivered to the offices of Canada's Prime Minister. The package carrying his left hand on its way to the Liberal Party would be intercepted just in time. But no one would be able to stop the right side of his body from reaching its destinations. 2 elementary schools full of children in Vancouver, British Columbia. Both schools would start their day by opening up packages of severed, decomposing human remains. It didn't take long to figure out who had done it. Luka Magnotta, after all, had filmed his own murder. He'd uploaded an 11-minute video of himself hacking Lynn Jun to pieces on a website called bestgore.com for the whole world to see. So the mystery wasn't as much a question of who had done it as it was a question of why. Let's see. Luka Magnotta was born Eric Newman in Ontario in 1982. The new name was one he chose himself, a sort of reinvention meant to purge bad memories. He said there was some messed up stuff that happened to him when he was a kid. This is said by with his brutal and domineering grandmother. Or it might have been something from his teenage years, when he was young and bisexual in a small Ontario town that didn't make it easy. Or maybe it was just madness. Magnotta, after all, had inherited paranoid schizophrenia from his father and had started hearing voices at the age of 18. Whatever it was that had left him so disturbed, Luka Magnotta had done everything in his power to erase Eric Newman. He'd rebuilt his whole face through plastic surgery and threw himself into a new life as a male escort and minor porn star. Even his family was worried. As his own aunt later said, he was a time bomb waiting to explode. Now, back to the man that he murdered. 𝓢𝓸𝓬𝓲𝓪 just wanted a friend. He was a 33-year-old international student from China who hadn't quite been in Montreal for a year by the time of the spring of 2012. When Luka Magnotta, now 29, contacted him, he was happy just to have a friend. He wanted to find someone with something in common. One of 𝓢𝓸𝓬𝓲𝓪's friends later said he didn't deserve this. Magnotta claimed that the two had met on the night of May 24th, after Lynn responded to a Craigslist ad that the former had posted in hopes of finding someone interested in sex and bondage. That night at 9 p.m., 𝓢𝓸𝓬𝓲𝓪 sent one final text to a friend. The next time anyone saw him was in a video uploaded to bestcore.com the next day, carrying the title, "One Lunatic, One Ice Pick." As the video revealed, 𝓢𝓸𝓬𝓲𝓪 had been stripped naked and tied to a bed frame. While the music of New Order blared through the speakers, Magnotta hacked him apart with an ice pick and a kitchen knife. He then filmed himself both sexually violating and dismembering the body, while allowing a dog to chew on the body and allegedly even eating parts of it himself. And then in parentheses it says, police have claimed that cannibalism is evident in an extended version of the video that they reviewed. Now we're going to go back in time a little bit. Before that video was posted, there was another video that Luka had posted that was also disturbing. Luka Magnotta was already being investigated for the horrific acts of violence for more than a year before he killed 𝓢𝓸𝓬𝓲𝓪. A group of online sleuths had been working together via Facebook to hunt down Magnotta because he'd uploaded videos of himself killing animals, and that is what the documentary is about. The people of that Facebook group that literally dedicated their lives pretty much to finding this dude are telling the story in the documentary. It's on Netflix. I said that in the beginning of this video, but if you want like more details, go watch it. And it's also important to note, and I'm surprised that it doesn't say this here, but in the videos you could not see Luka, like you couldn't see his face. You could just see like his hands, and that was it. He was trying very hard to hide his identity. So that's why it was like a literal search to figure out who he was. Alright, so a year and a half before killing 𝓢𝓸𝓬𝓲𝓪, Magnotta had uploaded another video entitled "One Boy, One Kitten," in which he suffocated, that's supposed to say "One Boy, Two Kittens," in which he suffocated two tabby kittens to death with a vacuum in a plastic bag. Since then, the online sleuths had amassed an incredible amount of information to bring Magnotta down. They'd pulled metadata from his animal torture pictures, found evidence about where he was hiding, and shared it all with the police He'd done everything he could to build up his online presence. He'd created Wikipedia pages about himself twice, created his own fake fan pages, and spread rumors that he was dating serial killer Karla Homolka. The sleuths hunting Magnotta speculated that he'd likewise killed cats for the attention. There's this unwritten rule of the internet. It's called Rule 0, and it's you don't mess with cats, one of the sleuths told Rolling Stone. Another added, what better way to get famous than to F with cats? Which is how the documentary got its name. But when these sleuths contacted the police, there wasn't much of a response. As one of the vigilantes recalled, I'm told it's just cats. They brushed me aside. What else could I have done? In the end, I told them this guy is going to turn around and kill somebody, and they poo-pooed me. So basically, they didn't think it was a big deal in the beginning. Okay, so let's move on to the hunt for Luka Magnotta. Of course, Luka Magnotta did turn around and kill somebody. And once the video of 𝓢𝓸𝓬𝓲𝓪's death was confirmed authentic, police began hunting for the killer. After the janitor at Magnotta's apartment found the torso, with papers identifying the victim nearby, police checked the building's security footage and saw their victim and their killer entering the building just before the murder. I think it was his ID or something like that, the victim. It didn't take long for police to arrive at Magnotta's apartment in the building, where they found blood on the mattress, bathtub, in the refrigerator, and elsewhere. He wasn't there, but they had their killer. And after matching the torso remains with those that had been mailed all over Canada, police also fully knew what had become of their victim. By that point, Magnotta had fled to Paris under his own name, easily allowing authorities to follow his trail. He then took a bus to Berlin, but police kept on his trail and would soon take him down. They found him in an internet cafe in Berlin on June 4th. When the police came in, Magnotta was Googling his old name, reveling in his own fame. He was very narcissistic, as you could tell. He was very obsessed with himself. Something forced me to do it. It gave me this weird energy, Luka Magnotta told the psychiatrist while waiting for his trial to begin. Something just happened in my brain. Magnotta said that he and 𝓢𝓸𝓬𝓲𝓪 were lovers, sharing a night together when a black car outside filled him with a conviction that 𝓢𝓸𝓬𝓲𝓪 was a secret agent. Tie him up, cut it, he heard a voice tell him. Do it, he's from the government. Then after he'd slit 𝓢𝓸𝓬𝓲𝓪's throat and chopped up his body, Magnotta said that the voices told him, give it back to the government. Hence, him mailing the body parts to the government offices. But it's of course hard to say if Magnotta is telling the truth. The details and organization of the crimes, another psychiatrist said, show that Magnotta was having anything but disorganized thought. Instead, other analysts said that Magnotta knowingly committed the crime for the attention, and that for him, the problem was simply that negative attention is better than no attention at all. We may never know for sure what went wrong inside the mind of Luka Magnotta. His jury, though, didn't accept his insanity defense. In December of 2014, they found him guilty on all counts and sentenced him to life in prison. But for the family of 𝓢𝓸𝓬𝓲𝓪, Luka Magnotta's punishment will surely never be enough. I will never see his smiling face, said the victim's father, or hear about his new accomplishments, or hear his laugh. 𝓢𝓸𝓬𝓲𝓪's birthday is on December 30th, and he will never be there for his birthday, or ours. So yeah, that is very much like a Cliff Notes version documentary. It's a multi-parter, so it has a lot more details, and I'm sure other articles have more details as well. details like how he was actually found. Like when he was in that cafe Googling himself, it was the owner that recognized him from, at that point he had been on the news, and he recognized his face and called authorities, things like that. But it's just such a wild story. So basically, up until the end, Luka said, I didn't have a choice. I had to do this because I was being told to do it. And there are more details about that in the documentary. But he names the person that he says is telling him to do these things, and he leaves behind a lot of clues that I don't even know if he meant to leave behind, but he left like little breadcrumbs in his path, and they were all details from a movie that I can't remember right now. The documentary touches on this, but it's just so, it really is a disturbing documentary, but in certain ways, like, he really was an evil genius. He really was. The documentary, if you're interested, it shows parts of the videos that he uploaded online, but obviously not the bad parts. I don't think Netflix could put that on Netflix, but you see enough to kind of get the picture. So yeah, the documentary is called Don't F with Cats. It is on Netflix, as I've said 15 times in this video. But I would thoroughly recommend it. So this was just kind of like a taste into the case, to set you up for the documentary if you want to watch it. So that is the story of Luka Magnotta. Again, I hope you guys can forgive me for reading it this time, but I hope that you guys enjoyed nonetheless. Thank you guys so much for watching. The next true crime video, I promise, will be in my typical style of true crime, my own notes, my own research, my own words. And let's see, what other videos do I have coming